Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm gonna keep it very brief. I'm gonna be giving a bit of financial advice, but it's not professional financial advice. It's more like trial and error, things I've gone through, and what I have learned from those ups and downs. So, first and foremost, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It's still kind of weird, still kind of awkward, but you know what? It is what it is, all right? So, I know times are getting kind of crazy and like there's a lot of uncertainty in the air, but I know the reality though, there's always going to be uncertainty in the air because like that's the way life is, you know what I mean? You can plan for 5 to 10 years and tomorrow your whole life could do a 360, you know what I mean? At the end of the day we got to go based on the plan that the most high has for us, and you know what I mean, rejoice every day and live in the moment. With that being said, it doesn't hurt to save 500 to $1,000. I know. How did it go there? Hold on a second. So in 2019 I saved my first $1,000, okay? And I saved it kind of out of like, you know what, like I've been living on my own for quite some time now, but I don't got a cushion. I don't got nothing to fall back. I'm growing up. At some point, I want a family. At some point, I want to make sure that I have something extra in the back in case of a job loss, which has happened, or in case of like, I'm ill, I'm not able to perform on my job. So like, some jobs do not cover sick pays. I know that there's some jobs, and I know that the law here states that I think it's like 3 to 5 sick leaves or something like that, but that's like in the whole entire year. You know what I mean? And we're human beings. So things happen, right? So like I said to myself, like, yo, I gotta save $1,000, right? Now that was back in 2019. I know times are different, but in all the reality, though, times are kind of still the same because like there's still some people that they don't got $1,000 or $500. Now I'm not judging you, but what I mean is that like, what are you doing, fam? Like by now, like if you're in your 30s or if you're 25 or if you're like 50 or 60, it's not too late to save 500 to $1,000. And like you'll be surprised how confident you move after you save this much amount of money and you just have it chilling in your back in the back. Now I'm not gonna go ahead and say like put it on a high interest account. I'm not gonna go ahead and say put it on the S&P or this and that. Yo, even if you have $500 cash ready to go, and even if you have the other 500 like in a bank account, even if it's a savings account, like money is money. Like I know with inflation and things like that, you know uh the value of it has been going down since like World War II, right? But like at the end of the day, cash is still king, my guy. Like, yo, listen, like if somebody right now handed me like $100 and I put it aside inside of a sock, inside of another sock, and I pulled it out like in 2035, yes, the value will go down, but like that's in $100 extra that like I'm gonna have. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like I'm not gonna be able to buy the same amount of things as I can buy today. Same with compared to like that you could have bought like, I don't know, 20 years ago. But like that extra little bit of cash can go a long way, man. Like I'm telling you, like if you've been down and out, you know what I'm talking about. That like, you know what I mean? You only got like $10 and you're like, damn, like I'm gonna buy some coffee for fuel, and I'm gonna like, you know what I mean, like buy a couple of like a loaf of bread and some peanut butter, and that's gonna get me for like the next couple of days as my lunch. Yeah, I'm being straight. I've been in situations that I've been like, damn, like if I had an extra $20 or $50. So that's why I'm saying like having a little bit of cash goes a long way. All right. Now I'm gonna tell you some ways that you can save 500 to $1,000. Okay, and I'm not gonna go ahead and tell you to like like do a stock flipping and all that stuff, even though that's work. Okay, but I'm gonna keep it simple, stupid. All right. because sometimes like the simple route is the best route, and then you can get fancy later on. All right, so do some Uber Eats, man. Do some Instacart. If you have a working vehicle, and let's say you have a 9 to 5, try to do some delivery jobs, some side hustles before you do your 9 to 5. So what I used to do, and this was like a hack that I kind of created. So during the pandemic times, there was a lot of things going on, like nobody knew what was going to happen. And even up until now, like companies are closing left and right, or one company takes over another company. Business is business as usual. So like you gotta be able to take care of yourself, right? Especially as a man, you gotta be able to take care of yourself so you can take care of your family and the people behind you. So like I said to myself, like, so in 2019, like I was saying, I saved my $1,000, okay? But then like 2020 came in, and like all that craziness, and I was like, yo, like I was glad I saved $1,000, because like even though I was still working during the pandemic, like there was some turbulence that I dealt with. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of like hours that were cut at first, X, Y, and Z. Till then, like the the weird times became the norm, and people adjusted. Then like my hours went back to regular, right? But there was a timing from like I believe 2021, 2022 till late 2023 that my job was inconsistent. So I said to myself like, yo, I gotta make it happen. So I started doing a lot of Instacart, okay? And at the same time, I had a cool little part-time job that I was doing from Thursday to Sunday at nights. All right. Now I said to myself like, yo, like I gotta be able to save some cash on the side, because I was using my car a lot, you know, and at the same time, like, I wanted to help my family. I got a family that lives in the Caribbean, and I was just like, I guess you could say, transitioning from a boy to a man. All right, and so F it. I was like, let's thug it out. So even though there was a lot of things online that were like, do the e-commerce route, which I did try it, or do the automated AI, which I did try. At the end of the day, like, not everything is for you, and that's a reality that sometimes like we don't want to accept. That's a hard pill to swallow, right? But part of being a man that I can share with you guys, and I can share with also like the women that are tuning in, and what, I can share with anybody, doesn't matter the age, gender, or religion, is that like when you're in the midst of the storm, you either crawl into a hole and wait for the storm to end, which you will never know when it's going to end, or you can either say, I'm going to pull out buckets, and after the storm is done, these buckets are going to be full of water. You know what I mean? And then after the storm, you're going to be like, I have clean water. So you can do two things: crawl into a hole, and you can just like stay there till the storm is done. You never know. You're not gonna know when the storm is over, and even when the storm is over, you're not gonna know how to prepare for the next storm. Or in the midst of the chaos, you can use that to your advantage, and with the little you have, you can like multiply that and make it work in the moment. So like with the little I had in the moment, I was like, yo, let's find something. So I was looking and looking, and at the time I found about Instacart. Now Instacart was still new, so I was like blessed by the Most High that I got into it very quickly, right? Because just like DoorDash and Skip the Dishes, there was wait lists, but Instacart was still a baby, was in its baby stages. So like I signed up for it. They sent me a badge and everything. They sent me like the card I use, and man, I ran with it, right? So like what I did that worked out for me was like I pretty much calculated all of my bills, and I divided the total. So for example, the total at the time was like $2,000 per month, and that's including everything: my gas, car insurance, life insurance, the biweekly investings I do for the retirement, the grocery budget, my cell phone subscriptions, everything was like around 2,000 to 3,000, and I divided that with the number of dates of the entire month. Okay, Now I know some months can end on the 30th and some can end on the 31st, and with the exception of like I think February ends on the 28th and yada yada and the leap year. Yeah, yeah, cool. Regardless, I calculated my monthly budget. I divided it with the days of the month. So like 3,000 divided by 31 days. And it will be like 90 bucks, 93 bucks, something like that. 90 bucks. And I was like, yo, this is my target goal. Okay. So like when I do Instacart, I need to make sure that per day I make 100 bucks. Okay. I know I say 90, but I rounded it to 100 bucks. I need to make sure that I make 100 bucks. And that's for a whole entire day. Okay. Yes, there was some times that I had to work on my other job that I was not able to do a full day of Instacart, and I still went out and did. I think there was a timing that I also bounced off from Instacart and Uber Eats. I was doing both at the same time. So when Instacart was slow, I would do Uber Eats, and when Uber Eats was slow, I would do Instacart. Now with Uber Eats, when it comes to like the morning, that's like a key timing. Also like lunchtime and dinner. I didn't really do dinner time when it came to Uber Eats because like there's like mad people doing Uber Eats at that time. There's also a lot of people doing Uber Eats in the morning, but like when it came to dinner time, everybody's out doing that. That's what I noticed. And so because I was a rookie in this kind of world, there was already people with experience that they just listen, they were on top of it, and I observed that. So I remember I was like, okay, boom. So my goal for today is like 100 bucks. So I will get up around like 5:30, and I will do a bit of Uber Eats or Instacart, and just run with it, right? So from like that time till like around, let's say, like 10 or 11, man, I had already have 80 bucks. So then I'll say to myself, like, man, okay, cool. Anything after $100 is getting is being utilized for something else. Okay. Now I already met my daily goal of $100. Okay. Now those $100, that was for my monthly bills. So at the end of the month, I was like, cool. Anything after 100, I will use for like gas, or I will use for like car maintenance. I will use for those kind of things, right? But at the same time, keep in mind, I still had my other part-time job. Now, with that extra money that I was making with the part-time job, with that money, I was able to like pretty much like, beef up my emergency fund. So remember, in 2019, I saved $1,000. Now, with this extra money from my part-time job, I was able to also like beef that up. And that honestly like helped me a ton to pretty much create my escape route. Cause like I wasn't gonna be doing like Instacart and Uber Eats like for like 5 7 years. Like I mean, like if you do that right now, shouts out to you. But like in the long term, that's not proper, right? Because like you do a lot of wear and tear on your car. On top of it, like it's not always busy. Like there was a lot of downtimes. There was times that I was literally chilling in a parking lot, just waiting for an order, fiending for an order. So like I developed myself like an escape route. I was like, you know what? Once I meet this goal, I'm gonna stop doing Instacart. Like I said, I did Uber Eats here and there, but I was more doing Instacart because there was like little hacks, tips, and tricks that I was able to like pretty much like create, which I will tell you. So boom, I already have my $1,000 from 2019, and then I continue to like pretty much add up. And like funny enough, like the car that I was using started to developing some problems, which I completely understood. I was like, yo, like I'm running this car like I know it's a machine, but I was literally using it like to the ground. Like it was like I felt bad for the vehicle. I know it's like it's an inanimate object, but I was like, damn, shouts out to you. It's not this one. It was a different car. But I was like, damn, shouts out to you. So like I was still able to like save a little bit of that and like put it up for car maintenance. So I wasn't kind of sweating it. I was still covering my monthly bills, you know what I mean, with my $100 goal. And then with the part-time job, I was man, I freaked it. I invested in like the stock market, and I did a bit of crypto. I was able to help my family. I did some moves that it was making me feel good. I also was tested. I was tested because like there was moments that I came across like wanting to do like stupid purchases. So you know what I mean? Heavy is the head that wears a crown. And like when you're reaping and sowing, you can get caught up in a cycle that you could be reaping and sowing for negative purposes also at the same time. So that was like a test, and I don't mean a test in a bad way. That was like pretty much like the most high trying to be like, like, I see you, young man, you're doing a good job, you're using your hands, you're using your mind, but let me see if with this currency you can continue to keep it flowing. And so I made purchases that I wasn't happy with, but also I learned, you know what I mean? Because like then there was those slow days when I was doing Instacart. Also with my other job that I was doing part-time, it was a lot of commercial cleaning, which was like overnights, right? If you work overnights, it is no fun. The people that say they love overnight shifts, you're lying to yourself, okay? It's not good for your body, it's not good for your mental health, it's not good for like bro, like we're human beings, we're mammals, we got to be sleeping at night. That's when like our melatonin releases and all that scientific good stuff. But like at the end of the day, like, I was like moody. I was not able to create and do things that I love. I was not able to hit the gym and stuff like that. So boom, I made out my escape plan. And like pretty much like after I think like a year and a half of doing Instacart, like then I started seeing more people doing it, right? And that's what I said to myself, like, yo, this is my cue. This is my cue to peace out. I got what I wanted, I did what I needed, and boom, you know shortly after that there was a pivot in the entire whole world, like around 2022, 2023, with like the whole like um logistic side of like those like cargo boats and like truck situation. So I was like, oh shit, huh? So like the money that I saved up and the money that I put aside turned out that it started to take care of me. When I was like doing a job hunting and I was like ready to exit that night shift work, and I was ready to like leave the Instacart hustle, I was like, yo, this was beneficial because like my bills were still being automatically paid from the money I put aside. And I was kind of like chilling, you know so like all praise to the most high for giving me health and air in my lungs to continue to push it through. So like go ahead and get that Instacart and Uber Eats side hustle. Right now it's a little bit overcrowded, but like every now and then I turn my app on for Instacart, and I still see some orders coming in. Same with Uber Eats, I still see some orders because like people right now, I'm noticing that they're losing a bit of hope, and that's a bad thing, but at the same time it's also a good thing because like when people lose hope in certain markets, it gives you, I'm talking to you, an opportunity to step in. You know what I mean? That person's season ended. Now it's time for someone else to jump in and pretty much like utilize the space that that person was using. um Kind of like there's a parable in the Bible that there's like three people and they each have a talent, and like one person like buries their own money, their talent. I know I'm butchering. So pretty much what I'm saying is this, okay, to summarize it up, 'cause I know I've been like talking a lot. Yo, like, relájate. So pretty much what I'm saying is this, like, if the most high gives you an idea and it gives you an opportunity, and this is something that you've been like marinating for quite some time, you gotta run with it, okay? Don't think it twice. You got this, okay? That idea was given to you for a purpose. Divine intervention was like, hold on a second, this is for my girl, this is for my boy. Boom, you're on the spotlight. So to summarize it, man, save 500 to $1,000. It will help you out a ton. And before I forget, some tips and tricks when you're doing Instacart, okay? So something that worked out for me was carry a cart. Carry like a small, tiny cart that you can like fold and like put it together. If it turns into a dolly, even better. I got mine from Costco. Also, order bags in bulk, okay? Because I know Costco doesn't give out bags, and I know how the whole world has turned with a green thumb. Some grocery stores give out paper bags, okay? Now, you don't want to be showing up at a household with like, 20 bags full of groceries with out of paper, because like, one, like, if it's a building or whatever, you got to make extra trips. And also, when the customer sees it, they're gonna be like, yo, did that came out of my pocket, or like, you know so have bags. Order bags in bulk, order them from like Amazon or anywhere you can order like a product in bulk. Also, another thing was, I created cards, okay, business cards. So I had cards for like regular clients, that in the card I will be like, please review me 5 star, I really appreciate it. It helps with my profile, blah 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 blah. It was a pleasure doing this order for you. Sweet and simple. Okay. And I also had another batch of cards, which was for seniors. I know, right? So like, um in this cards I will put like, my name is like, I don't know, like, Robert. Besides this, I also do landscaping and like errands and X, Y, and Z. Okay. Now you put those cars in like the grocery bags for the seniors, and like, you never know, you might get some callbacks. I remember when I was doing Instacart, whenever I will get like senior deliveries, I will do that. And as a matter of fact, I gained like two people from there. So those two people, one of them, they always needed for me to take them to appointments Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Okay, because their kids were busy, they lived alone, and they were not able to drive. So like, that's what I did. I will go and help them out. There was another person that like, sometimes like, I think like, she wanted like some help, like, I don't know, like tidying up her apartment or something like that. So like, you can go ahead and do that, and that's like another side hustle that you can get on the side. You know what I mean? You can do cash, boom, 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 and that's money that you're pocketing. The currency, keep the currency flowing, and like, once you're in that state of mind, like, opportunities and like more ideas come in. You don't want to be in a broke mindset. You don't want to be in that type of negative like uh energy, because like it attracts other things. And the Most High wants all of us to be good stewards with our money, so then we can become a blessing to other people. All right, I've been talking a lot, and I'm still trying to figure this out. All right, so I hope this video helped you, and see you on the next one. Peace.